Hi guys, and welcome back to the Supernatural Files. This is Don Phillips, and tonight we're going to be looking at some pretty interesting things. First of all, I'd like to thank you, the guys that are following me, supporting me, and Becky and the guys, and I know some of you have now been beginning to share the links on this channel. That is really, really important. You know, we are doing some serious work here. This is not woo-woo science, as Professor Brian Cox would describe it, but we will come back to that very, very shortly. You know, there's ghost hunters, paranormal investigators. Are they the same? I'm not so sure. I was a paranormal investigator when I initially started out, but that very quickly branched off into paranormal research. The two things are totally separate. To me, capturing something on camera and not understanding it or how it may have happened, whether it's spiritual or another explanation, having a one-track mind is not conducive to the subject, or indeed if you've actually got a client. You have to be objective. That is important. You have to be objective. And I know that skeptics is a really kind of dirty grey word, but you know what, it's actually not. I've said many times before, skepticism is an integral part of your toolkit, and there is a big difference between the skeptics and cynics posing or thinking that they are skeptics. The two are totally worlds apart. To understand the paranormal is to understand the mechanics, which is also to do with science, both for and against. That's very, very important to stay rational and to keep you grounded. Tonight also I'm going to talk about some of the fake stuff on YouTube. You know, that stuff that's damaging the subject. I've said before, people, all this stuff and cupboards flying open and everything else, and oh my god, you know, we're frightened and everything. You know, people are great at telling stories, people can be pretty good at acting. Let's dig into that a little bit deeper. Okay, so welcome back, and first of all, let me just play this little clip.
No scientific evidence, as well as ghosties, because of course Halloween, everybody talks about ghosts and things like that. Do you? Because you're really scientific, of course you are,
yeah. And
I'm very sceptical about all of these other things. How do you stand on things like that?
Again, no, sadly, I think. But it's interesting. It's about that our perception. We're making so many measurements of the world and seeing things and processing all this stuff in our remarkable brains. And sometimes something doesn't quite go according to plan. You don't know, something strange happens. And we attach a great deal of weight to those things.
No, we do.
So I think as far as we can tell, as far as we understand the science, and we understand science very well. No. But I don't want to ruin Halloween. It's still great.
Exactly. It's still a really good holiday. Yeah. It's really good fun. When can we come and see you? Because this tour is global, isn't it?
Okay. Just letting the laptop close down. According to science, spirits and ghosts don't exist because they proved, by Brian Cox's own words, there's nowhere for them to exist. That's very problematic to me. First of all, just saying, you have spent so many millions and millions of dollars at CERN to recreate what you said was the Big Bang. You know, that thing that we've taught children, and the thing that's been put out in numerous documentaries, the Big Bang, how the Earth was created, civilization, where it all sprung from. Wow. Well, it was a week or two ago, maybe a little bit longer. Using their own scientific data and theory, they themselves have now, I don't know if you're aware of this, it's now been, they themselves have now found themselves in an unfortunate situation where they've actually proved the Big Bang never occurred. Unfortunately, all this money spent, experiments and professionals and scientists at CERN have been trying to recreate something that never happened in the first place. Now, I don't know if it's on this channel or the other channel, which will be coming down shortly, but I said about 6 years ago, through my communications, that the Big Bang was incorrect. I didn't shout it very loudly at the time because, you know what, it was by Becky, and Becky's never been wrong, but nevertheless, that's what she said. That has now been confirmed scientifically by the very people that was trying to recreate and prove the Big Bang and the origins. They've now proved it couldn't have actually happened. Wow, that's a pretty big one, isn't it? You know, Mr. Cox there, Brian Cox, you know, I'm sure he's a very, very nice guy. But you know when he got my back up? When he said a couple of 3, 4, 5 years ago, ghosts, paranormal, it's woo-woo. How do you determine that something is woo-woo unless you are proclaiming to know everything about the universe, all the variables, and science is 100% complete in its knowledge of the universe and how it works? Although, Brian, you know what, you did piss me off when you said it's all woo-woo, because you know what, that is discrediting these guys, real people with real feelings, real emotions, the thousands of people out there trying to do their best to attain evidence. Do you actually take time to look at the evidence scientifically? This is all rather simple. Look at some of my videos that I put up on this, some of my uploads, my communications with them things that you say do not exist. Come and denounce me, come and see me. We can sit here, we can talk to the spirits that you say don't exist, and you can explain publicly where these voices are coming from. Obviously when you've been looking for cameras, microphones and all that kind of gadgetry. In a nutshell, you, your peers, you're wrong. And the reason you're wrong is because you've not taken a subject, a scientific subject, seriously. Science is not a religion. Science is a means of inquiry. It's time science stepped up. My God, do you know what? The amount of information I've had from Becky and these real beings is absolutely phenomenal. One time with my ex-partner, she was in a lot of pain. I said, Becky, do you know what's wrong with Rachel? She said, she's got a kidney infection. A really bad kidney infection. And you know what, that's not a one-off. My current, sorry, not my current, it sounds like I'm going to change it, doesn't it? My amazing wife, forever, Paddy. It was about, when was it? It was about a year ago, you know, COVID and all that going on. She was in a lot of pain. She was coughing so bad. She was sweating. She was nauseous. I was worried she got COVID. I said, Becky, what's wrong with Patty? She'd got a very, very bad lung infection. And I'll be honest with you guys, because you know I will not fluff over it. I can't remember whether she said it was the left lung, the right lung, or both lungs, but it was chronic. And Becky said exactly what it was. We didn't know what it was. Really bad cough, fever. She went to the doctors. Indeed, the doctor confirmed she'd got a chronic lung infection. There is so much we can learn from the guy, or at least I can. Okay, you know what? I'm in a privileged position on many levels, some of which I won't go into. But the point is, the contact, the information is available. Mr. Cox, the offer is there. Come here to me, or any scientist. You want to debunk me and the paranormal? Fine, you know what? Come here. You'll be welcomed. No animosity whatsoever. Just request is be open-minded, report it as you find it. The only deal is I get to record everything. And I know I've said this in the UK for so many years. No one's ever took me up on that. And this, or not this actually, it was a glass dome like this. Now I had an idea. I watched the Scole experiment with Robin Foy. Robin, absolutely a really nice gentleman. We got to know each other. I never actually met Robin, but we got to know each other very well over various video chats and phone calls over 2 years. I had questions concerning the Scole experiment, which he answered to my satisfaction. Some of the questions were actually posed by skeptics and cynics. After several communications with Robin, both video and audio, he agreed. He thought it was a fantastic idea, so I'd arranged with Robin Foy to meet him in the Scole experiment. That I go over to Spain to his villa. I can actually handle the apports that actually purported, and pose to him questions and raise matters that were raised by skeptics and cynics about the whole thing. He loved it. He loved that idea. Because I said, Robin, you know what, you never actually had a chance to answer directly the criticisms or any questions. So that was the plan. Unfortunately, COVID hit. I've said many times before, 2.5 year delay. I didn't get there. Robin actually said to me, he said, Don, unfortunately I haven't got the space, but there is a nice little rental place across the road, you can get an apartment. So we got it all set. The only thing we had to arrange was the date. Unfortunately that didn't come to bear because obviously of Robin's demise, but what they achieved in the Scole experiment was incredible. And let me tell you why I buy into this. I know personally one person that was involved and in that sitting at the Scole experiment. So that was the plan, and then on top of that, I said to Robin, I want to ask you, out of respect, can I conduct some experiments and call it Scole Experiment 2? Robin said, what do you mean? I explained what I'd got in mind, and after quite a long discussion, when he got all the facts, Robin said, Don, what you have achieved as one person, just one single person in the spiritual realms, is absolutely incredible. I will endorse you. I will help you in any way I can. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Robin. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. An endorsement from Robin. Also, he said, what you've achieved in a minimal space of time compared to what we achieved as a group over a long period of time, he said it's absolutely incredible. Robin was a total advocate of Don Phillips. Okay, so we got this thing planned where I go over to interview him, do a Scole Experiment 1 update, answering his critics. In the meantime, I was going to embark on Scole Experiment 2. For that I needed a place. And do you know what? It can't just be any place. Like here or there, even in the Becky shed. You can't say, okay, I'm going to do a Scole Experiment 2. Because that's got connotations. People just want to hear voices. if you are going to apply your name to Scole Experiment 2, endorsed by Robin Foy, you've got to pull some big rabbits out of some big hats, because it's got to be super special. It's not got to be just audio, it's got to be visual. The person I mentioned that was actually on the team of the original Scole experiment was Nick Kyle, president of the Scottish Society of Psychical Research. Nick is an absolutely fantastic guy. And I've said this about people before. If I say somebody is an absolutely fantastic person, trust me, they are an absolutely incredible person. And one of life's rare people, you know. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying. I needed a location. Just by chance, I got a phone call from the from the manager of the Old Black Lion in Northampton, Leicestershire. Don, we've got all this poltergeist activity going on. They'd actually employed a guy, first night, a new manager. Sorry, he wasn't the manager, whatever's above that, the people that run the Old Black Lion, that's who I was involved with. He said, we've got this new manager, and he only spent one night in the Black Lion. He freaked out, he spent the rest of the night in his car. Wow, what happened? The way it was told to me is he saw these plates flying around and all sorts of shit was going on. And he shit himself, he ran out there and he spent his night in the car. He didn't come back. Can you come and check it out? Yeah, at the time I was running a team of wonderful people that I got in my team called GSI Paranormal UK. I said, do you know what? Let's get this sorted out. Let's do a 72-hour investigation. Fantastic. Wow, 72 hours? Yeah, 72 hours. Because I don't want to get in there just to get... I'm not into just gathering evidence. You know what? That doesn't interest me. What interests me is proving the fact. It's the factual elements. That, to me, is what I do and what I'm about. I'm not interested in getting some notoriety because I've got something caught on camera. You know that, guys. To me, it's about the facts and pushing it out there. So, me and the team went down there. The local newspaper, which was the Echo and Chronicle, they attended. I said, hey guys, hi. Straight away, I'd already got a shitload of stuff. I'd been there like 10 minutes and got this amazing reply. In fact, this is that reply. Take a quick look at this.
Good evening. My name's Steve Dennis. I'm a director of the leisure company that operates the Old Black Lion in Northampton. Don and his team are finally going to hopefully put some meat on and put some explanation with all the paranormal happenings that happen on this site, which has been going since about 400 AD. We've got various photographs with orbs, etc., and lots of things need pulling together. So I wanted to thank Don and the team for sparing their time. This investigation is going to take 48 hours and we're all at the company looking forward to the results. So best of luck, Don. Have a great evening and try and find us some answers. Thank you. Before I leave Don and the team to get on with their investigation, I would just like to mention that we're actually quite surprised that while setting up some of their equipment, we've already picked up a lady. Don's taken a recording of a lady in the attic. We knew there's activity in the attic because of various stones throwing, and when builders have been up there, they've said there's all sorts of unusual feelings and things that go on. And it's quite incredible to think that Don has already picked up a voice and recorded a voice. So we look forward to that being added to the recordings as well.
Your name. So, would anyone help me with that?
Shut up.
Do you know what?
Shut up.
Shall we go home? There's also something before as well. It's Amy before, is that as well? Right? I said, look, do me favours, report for me in the morning. Her name's Amy, nice lady. I want to say her name in the morning, but they've not done it in the morning, they've done it now. Are you ready for this? Now, if you research the Old Black Lion in London, you'll see that there's a woman that went through all this stuff. I can't remember exactly what her name was, but it's well documented. What's less documented is a lady called Elizabeth. Elizabeth was chained up. She was raped, and she watched her daughter being abused, chained up, and her daughter died, and she saw that. So it's a pretty bad story. And we're talking about many, many years ago, maybe 18th century. So I made contact with Elizabeth. I said something to her, I can't remember what it was at the time. She said, "Don't tell me that." Take a quick listen to this.
Don, describe that sound, mate.
Well, to me that sounds like Elizabeth saying, "Don't tell me that." Now, we've just talked that, but the thing is, Nick, there's a slight difference, slight twist to it. If you look over there, and we're taking the recordings underneath this dome.
Okay, so we got to the Old Black Lion. I thought it was just a pub. Big, massive place, big, but it was a pub. It's got some history to it, okay. Then I discovered a cellar below the cellar which dated back to Doomsday. Wow. As soon as I saw it, I realised it was enclosed with lime brick walls and thick clay behind them, and I know that because I removed a stone. I thought, could this be the place for us to conduct Scole 2 with Robin's endorsement? Guys, I'm going to tell you, this place was incredible. The amount of spirit interaction I got in this place within a very short period of time is probably more than any documentary, any video ever shown on YouTube. I want to share some of that with you now. And this will also relate to something like this. I am, to all intents and purposes, the pioneer of the dome recordings, capturing spirit voices within a vacuum container. You know, we had a problem at the Old Black Lion. There was a pump going. It was going all the time. Straight off the bat, I knew that was going to cause us some serious problems in recording and the actual investigation. So at that time, and going back to Scole experiment, they had a glass dome to store the spirit energy, etc., to make wondrous things happen. So I thought, I wonder, could we utilise that if that's a thing? Guys, it was a thing. We got absolutely wondrous, fantastic replies without this, but even with this, absolutely amazing. You see, the thing is, being a researcher, you've got to have some kind of background or knowledge in science and how things work. Sound waves are actually mechanical. If you hit what would be the best example, or one example? Let me try and explain. If you strum a guitar, boom. The reason that guitar slows down is because the sound is hitting air particles. That's what makes the guitar slow down, the sound slow down. Do you know what? Without further ado, this is the Old Black Lion. Well, this is what I achieved within a short period of time, and it is absolutely outstanding. Take a look at this.
There's no reason for it. And my recorder is currently underneath the dome, which has been picking up quite a lot of interesting voices, to be honest. And also, it sounds like they're actually in a tunnel, doesn't it? Let's just take my recorder out a sec. It's been recording under there. Just see what it sounds like. Did you hear it? Yeah. What's that? Let's save the rest of them. Listen. Eh? That's from
That's
underneath
not you.
that glass. That's not me.
No, it's not.
It's not you, Carlton.
It says, let's save the rest of them. How clear is that, Alison?
You don't need nothing. You Nick would be able to hear that. Right, so quite easy.
The second one, I'm not sure about. The second one could be, why save the rest of them? Either way, I'm sure you'll agree, they're both outstanding replies. Right, who's it?
It's there.
I'm in the dark. Oh yeah. Okay, can you answer this question, please? Gentleman there says, well, let's save the rest of them. Who is it that you need to save? Right, Alison, I'll let you take the glass off and just press play to see what you've got.
Tells you can see which one, but there's no one.
Right, who's it? What's the beginning? That's the bit I heard. Listen. It's that, I've got that vacuum sound. Alright. That, there, you. Yeah. I'll say there, wouldn't I? I'll check this later. The one before it is something quite interesting as well. Let's put the lights on, and what I suggest we do. Oh,
Hello.
hello.
There was a proper draft then when that was going on.
Was that?
Yeah. Over here. There was a draft.
You just moved the table.
Now I've just moved my arms.
Oh, sure. Right, we're going to go in 5 minutes. Can you just give us a going away present? A bang on the table. Who's that?
Well, I've just lifted my arms, that's it.
Who's that now?
That's not me.
Nick. Is that you, Nick?
Mate.
Oh, wonderful.
Who's that? I've got one hand on it, really.
I've got no
I've
answer.
got my fingertips on it. The table is actually moving under my fingers. That is brilliant.
Just put my fingertips on it.
The table's actually moving. I've got my hands still and the table's moving under my fingers.
Brilliant, thank you. That's what
Thank
it
you.
Pretty incredible, huh? So I am the pioneer of the what I term to be the dome recording. Guys, check it. I know you're not me, but you know what, that would probably have a lot to do with it, but you know what, by all means, check it out. The vacuum flask sealed. See what you get. Now, the other night, I thought I'd just give it a try for a video I was doing then, which I decided not to bother with, but I will take that clip and show you now. So straight off the bat, I just thought I'll try it in this. This is not glass, this is plastic, but again, it is sealed. So would it be amazing if I could drop 2 recorders or 1 recorder in there, total silence, and get something back. We'll delve into more. Do you know what? Shall we give this a try? Well, let's give this a little try. Well, let's put this on the top so it's airtight. Again, I'm not expecting miracles, guys, but this is real. Most of the time, things are pretty wondrous. Sometimes they're absolutely terrible. Tonight could be a terrible night. I want to take both recorders, actually. So what we're going to do, guys, I don't want you to say anything until it's in there and I close the lid, okay? Same with this one. So let's place these inside. Record. 1, 2. Close. We start listening to the recordings from now. End of short experiment now. Stop. Again, I'm not expecting any miracles tonight, but this is just to give you an example of my procedure that I come up with the dome recordings. So anything on there after the first knock and before the last knock is obviously relevant in some way. That was the 2 knocks. Have we got anything? Let's stop there. There was definitely something on there, wasn't there? Let's just play that back. That's definitely a voice. Okay, here it is. Okay. Anything else? No. You see, science says that sound cannot propagate away from its original source, and sound is merely vibration. Total silence. Sound cannot originate, cannot propagate away from its original source. Explain that. Okay, let's speak to a spirit. Let's not speak to any spirit. Who shall we choose? Becky, can you bring Elvis Presley or Marilyn Monroe, maybe even to speak to me? Let's take a recording. I've got 2 very, very old recorders here that I normally use, but I'm going to put them to one side for now. Let's use this one. As you know, I have no problem communicating with spirits. Any spirits, but unlike some, I don't use celebrities generally to add notoriety to what I'm actually doing. I'm not saying I can't do that, but it's not something I need to do. Marilyn Monroe, are you happy? Oops, shall we turn it on first? That might be a good start. Oh, there we go. Let's see what Marilyn says. Let's play through the amp. Oh. I hope I'm finding happiness. Do you want to hear that again? Beautiful. Thank you, Marilyn. I hope I'm finding happiness. A direct response to my question. Marilyn, are you happy? Let's listen to that one more time. Wow. Are you blown away by that? Was that Marilyn Monroe's voice? Absolutely. Hi guys, let's try this again. Let me tell you what happened. I've explained this already. I'm now shooting the end of this episode, which I started yesterday instead of doing it all in one, because the camera card got corrupted. Well, I say the card, it could be a problem with this camera. I've just spent the last 20 minutes doing the ending to this episode. Went in to put it on the end of that I recorded yesterday. I even put the same jacket on, so it looks the same, so it looks complete. Oh my god, how frustrating. I put the card in again, unrecognized file corrupted. I'm like, oh my god, you gotta be shitting me. So I'm back now on the second attempt to put an ending onto this episode, which I'm hoping this is going to work. If it does, you get an episode. If not, you get a half an episode with a very abrupt ending. And it also means I will have to pull back my notes that I made in relation to the episode I started yesterday. So that's why this video, this episode on the Supernatural Files has been delayed. And that's why I've now got a kind of, a bottle of lager instead of a glass of wine. So just so you don't think that I'm an alcoholic, so I'm sitting there drinking wine and also it's going to change to a bottle of lager. This is a separate day. Cheers. Right, so now I'm going to hope my memory serves me correct. We covered a few things. Mr. Brian Cox, I had a little word about him yesterday. Let's start there. Let's finish that bit. Let's just put that to bed. But you know, I don't want it to sound like I'm having a pop with Mr. Cox. I kind of was. Okay, but you know, there is a lot of people spending a lot of time, so much time, trying to gather evidence to find the truth and everything, to just tell everybody it's woo-woo and diss everybody's efforts, the hours they're spending, hours and hours and weeks and years, a subject close to their heart, to just diss it all in one and say ghosts don't exist because we've proved it. Mr. Cox and your peers, you've not proved shit. As I explained in the other half, before everything went tits up, unless you've got a 100% knowledge of the whole universe, all the variables and everything else that come into reality, you cannot make that statement. That's clearly just an assumption, and a biased one at that. So let's just leave that one there for right now. Are we still recording? Recording. Yeah, I've had to actually drop it from 4K. I normally record in 4K and edit it in HD, but this time I think that might be a problem with the camera, because now I'm actually shooting it in 2K instead. So let's hope this one works. Okay, where else was we? Okay, so I'll also explain as well, I'm a little more lively now, because on the first half it was 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Because this is another half of what would be the one from yesterday, it's now currently, what time is that with my, it's 6:30 p.m. It makes a difference, so that's where we are on that. Okay, I made a couple of notes. Fakery. Okay. I know we've done some of the old black line stuff, but let's just talk about fakery here. And guys, nothing pisses me off more than damaging the subject with fakery. Most of the stuff on YouTube and a lot of TV shows, actually, scripted, faked, helped along, whatever you want to call it, smoke and mirrors. And I understand why, to some extent, but that does not mean it's right, you know. Right, let's start off with, I think in the other clip, the first part of this, there's a clip there with Marilyn Monroe. I'll explain that was fake. I want to go back to that now because, right, this is what happens. So, some people, when a celebrity or high profile person dies, within hours, they're communicating with them. This, whether it's Queen Elizabeth, Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, wow, they've just died and they've got nothing better to do, nothing else to think about than to come and visit you in your home and talk on your spirit communication device. Now, do you know what? Anybody think that might be a little bit weird? Let's take Queen Elizabeth. A certain individual, within hours of her passing, oh, there's Queen Elizabeth. She's talking to me. This is a spirit person who's died, transcended into the spirit world. That's a shocker for them. They've lost everything at that point. Communication with their entire family, their sons, their daughters, their relatives, their whole life. And do you think they've got nothing better to do than to pop down to your house and talk to you? Really? Wow. Do you know what? You ain't a paranormal investigators. You're not researchers. People that do and fake that shit are nothing more than con men and charlatans, and they're conning all their followers who follow them naively because they don't understand how things work, not always through fault of their own. And that brings me on to another topic which I'll get to in a second. So this is how it works. I'm not going to name any names. I'm sure some names will come to light already without me mentioning them. I don't need to diss people, they do that themselves. So, Elvis, Marilyn, Queen Elizabeth dies. You go onto YouTube. You find a clip of where they've been interviewed. You record some of that clip, some sentences. You then slow that voice down through your equipment. You then add a bit of echo and maybe even put in a little bit of a in the editing. But you know what? You're smart. You don't play the whole sentence, that'd be too obvious. No. You pick a few words out of that sentence. So, for example, if Queen Elizabeth was talking about her family and said Prince William, and you asked a question about, in relation to Prince William, and you just take that one little segment that says, Prince William, and that comes through. Wow. It looks convincing, doesn't it? It's in real time and everything. The problem with that is, no, it's not in real time at all. There's some things in there people in the editing world will already know, and non-editing people will probably know. Jump cuts, where you make something look like it's in one frame and it's not. Always look for dips. You know, the picture goes dark and comes bright again, little dips. That's a cut, that's an edit, that's a jump cut. Also look for little bits of video that fill in between the question and the answer. It could be something as simple as can blah 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 speak to me? I've asked a question, can you know, are you happy? As in my Marilyn clip. Are you happy? Oops, shall we turn it on first? That might be a good start. Oh, there we go. Oh, I hope I'm finding happiness. Do you want to hear that again?
Let's see. Let's say, I hope I'm finding happiness. Right?
When I use my recorders, you'll clearly see 9 times out of 10. Record, you can see them both recording. Stop, play. 3 actions in 1 frame. If I was going to put a jump cut and use a recording I previously recorded, it would be something like question, record, stop, and then even just a close-up of me pressing play. That's a jump cut. That is a separate bit of filming that's put in there to cover the fact that it wasn't in real time. That's how it works. And notwithstanding the fact that even if there's not a jump cut, it does not necessarily mean that something is genuine. It is easy to fake stuff. It's easy to con people. I saw one guy who was talking to a deceased celebrity. He was sitting at the side of his equipment. No jump cut, sitting at the side of the equipment. I noticed every time there was a reply, his arm slightly went behind the equipment. To press a button, to do what? To press play? I don't know. But I'm just saying, guys, question everything. It's so easy to get conned. Do you know why they do that? Because a recent deceased celebrity, Queen, Elvis, Marilyn, politician, it's trending. It's all about trending. It's all about views. If Elton John, sorry Elton, no disrespect, just an example, I need a name, yours is it for now. If Elton John died tonight and tomorrow I put a video clip out on YouTube and I said, Elton John talks or speaks through the spirit box or communicates with me or something after his death, it's trending. It's hot news. The algorithms in YouTube will seize on that. Wow, this is something current. People are like this. Boom, let's bang it on there. It's a little bit like the meta tags, the tags that you use. It's to increase your views. And there's nothing better than something that's actually trending, red hot, brand new, in the news, to get views on YouTube. And you know what? This is why people do it. This is why they don't wait till 6 months after. It's always got to be within a few hours or 24 hours because it's hot, it's current, it's going to get on the hits on YouTube. That's how it works, guys. Sad. I know, nevertheless. But you can be assured here on the Supernatural Files with little old me, there's no fakery at all. Occasionally I will put in a jump cut. And I'll tell you why. If I'm holding a recorder, I'm going to play it back. Oh, I've dropped it. I don't want to look stupid. So I pick it up. And I cut the bit out where I dropped it. That's a jump cut. But you know what? That's a genuine jump cut for a genuine reason. Not to fool or con anybody. That's different. Right. What else? Where was I? Right. Okay. So we talked about Robin Foy. We talked about Scole 2. I'm trying to... I hope my memory actually serves me well now because I'm trying to remember what I did in the first part. We covered Northampton, the footage in there, the actually amazing replies, including the replies attained through this, or something like this. Let me see what else I've got on my notes here. Let's have a look. No jump cuts here, let me just put my glasses on. That's what happens to us all when you're getting old. Is my mic on? Please tell me my sound's on. 1, 2, 5. I've got that. No, oh, hold on, here we go. Yes, speaking about the Robin Foy thing, in the clip that I've shown you where I've actually got the recording in this, prior to that, and not for the reasons I've just explained, but for genuine interest, because me myself, Robin Foy and Barchi have all got the same interest, the same dedication to the subject. In fact, they will know everything about it now because they're no longer with us. So just out of curiosity, I said, Becky, I knew Robin on a pretty personal level through lots of video calls and over 2 years. Great guy, as I've already said. Is it possible we could bring him here to speak with me? Would you be willing to do that? The following clips I'm going to play you, I'm on the fence about. I'm going to give it 60 in favour, maybe 60, 65 in favour, and maybe 30, 35 against. I'm not 100% sure on this, but it sounded like something along the lines of, we're getting him, and something about he'll help you. And then there was another one that sounded like, I'm Robin, or it's Robin. And then another one which sounded like he's behind you, but actually clip that right at the end. He's behind half of you. That's what you'll hear. Or was that Robin? I don't know. Yet to be confirmed. We will be able to establish that on clearer responses to more in-depth questions when the conditions improve. Because as I've said before, the conditions right now, terrible, guys, absolutely terrible. So without further ado, take a listen to these clips. Let me know in the comments if you agree that that sounds like that's Robin responding, or what you're actually hearing. I'd be quite interested in that. So let's have that clip now. They're finding him, it sounds like. There's a thing called audio pareidolia where we have to be very careful sometimes that we're not hearing what we want to be hearing when it's not actually that we're hearing. This, for example, could be audio pareidolia, but it does sound a little like this is Robin. If that's not audio pareidolia, that'd be incredible. But there is a possibility. I hear the static, it's different when I'm playing it onto there. I hear it better afterwards when I play back on the footage. So what do you think, guys? Robin? Maybe? Is that what I'm hearing, what you're hearing? Or could it be a case of audio pareidolia where we perceive to be hearing what we want to hear? And that's something else that well, that's not fair, not most, a lot of investigators fall foul. You know, when you get the subtitles and all you're hearing is, especially on the shows, oh, can you hear that? They're saying this, they're responding, and you're thinking, we have to be strict with our evidence. We have to be objective. We need to be really strict. And we don't just want to put everything out, every response, because the weaker the response, the more it's going to get bounded around by cynics who are going to use the worst examples of everything they can to support their argument that it's ambient sound resembling speech. The little clip when I was actually trying on the spot, fantastic. Not 100% clear, but I think, at least to my ears, what was it, something like, I am a spirit? I asked them to say something while the records were in the jar. The point being, there should be nothing but anything other than that is something, unless it's banging around the jar or something like that. Because so that's where we're at. Okay, we've got quite a lot now, and I'm hoping this card is actually going to work. Right, what I'm going to end on is two things. I had a little bit of a pop at Mr. Brian, Professor, let's be respectful, Professor Brian Cox earlier with his Spirits Don't Exist, which was in a previous media thing, not the bit I played. because we proved it. And you know, I made a point that you've not proved shit unless you know everything, and all the variables of mortality, reality, the planet, the solar system, energy, everything. You cannot make that determination. That's a biased comment. That again is a belief structure without any support, any evidence whatsoever. They don't exist because we've proved it. You didn't go on to say how you proved it. That's an empty statement. That doesn't mean a thing. That means absolutely nothing. You know, and I said that science should step up. Now I'm going to defend science as well. In the same video, I'm going to defend Mr. Brian Cox, Professor Brian Cox, and I'm going to defend science and why they're not getting involved in a subject I keep saying should be taken very seriously. Okay, so these professional, scientific-minded scientists, what are we asking them to get involved in? Let's just take a look at it from their perspective. Let's go online, let's look at some paranormal groups. First of all, there's a lot of assumption, which is non-scientific. There's a lot of infighting. We know there's some groups. Don't really want to be involved in that either. Then we got the whole orb thing. As I explained previously, people say, I'm a medium and that's a guy and he's this, that, and he's in pain and he's everything else. That's speculation. That's not scientific. They need hard evidence, repeatable evidence, before they even consider getting involved. And even then, it's debatable because there's such a stigma attached to the paranormal, thanks to all the people faking stuff, people making assumptions, people telling stories, people telling lies, because they just want to be somebody. It's human nature, guys. So when we put evidence out, we have to make sure it's at least credible. Not what you think. Don't think something and put it out as factual evidence, because you know what, it's not. It doesn't matter what you get on camera sometimes, an anomaly. You cannot say that is a ghost unless it's got a label around its neck that says I am a ghost. I've seen so many things people putting out, to them it's paranormal. You can't call it paranormal unless it steps beyond the realms of average what everybody else is putting out. It's got to be super interesting, something a little bit different, clarity, clear picture or whatever. Audio pareidolia, visual pareidolia. Unfortunately, a lot of the internet paranormal and some teams is made up of that. That's not credible. And by putting things out which are way open to debate, speculative, not evidential at all, but just because you think it is, you are inadvertently damaging the subject without probably even realising. You know, I understand it's not everybody's fault, but skepticism and objectivity are tools you need to use. You need to question everything besides other people. You question your own stuff. I did. I surrounded myself with our very people that would be there to debunk me. Fortunately, they all started singing from the same page pretty quickly, because it's above average, it's testable, it's repeatable. And you've heard some of my recordings, they're just plain on sentences. You will find us over there. There's nothing ambient sound about that. So it's not all the fault of scientists why they're not getting involved in the subject. It's stigmatized, and a mixture of that and people making claims and people not being objective. Okay, so that is that. Is there anything else I wanted to cover? Oh yes, before I go, guys, I have worked my ass off for several years, lots of years. Me and Becky and the guys and the people I've been involved with, I've worked our asses off for a long time to actually make a difference to the field of paranormal research and put credibility into the field, which is drastically needed. There's things that I actually want to put up publicly, and Becky basically says, well, no, when it's bigger, was the last thing she said. When it's bigger, when it's big enough. She meant our audience, the platform. She the same as me, and you will understand. We don't just want to put a YouTube video out and people go, oh, that was interesting, let's wait for the next one, as I explained a few months ago when actually it came back. Okay, so I'm not going to go into any great details at all, or answer any questions at all. At the moment, it's looking like 2023 will be the year where we get our platform across America and the UK. There's a lot of things happening right now behind the scenes, away from YouTube, TV land, etc. That would be a reward for all my hard work, my dedication, but it's also a reward for the people that have believed in me, Becky, our work, and followed us for so many years. So looks like at the moment 2023 is going to be something pretty special. That's it for now, my friends. I think we've covered quite a few bits tonight. I'm not sure how this is going to all join together when I take this. I'm joining it up to the other one that I started shooting yesterday, but hopefully it will turn out okay as long as this goddamn card's working and my camera's not super faulty. So until the next time, I'll see you on Supernatural Files. Take care for now.